Welcome back to XRPIQ, the channel where we break down the biggest XRP developments, market trends, and crypto opportunities in a simple and easy to understand way. If you're an XRP holder or someone closely watching the future of digital assets, today's update could be one of the most important discussions we've had in a long time. Have you noticed how some announcements seem small at first, but later turn out to be major turning points? Well, many XRP investors are starting to believe that this latest XRP strategy announcement could be exactly that kind of moment. While most people are focused on daily price movements, smart investors are paying attention to the bigger picture. They are looking at what institutions are doing, how regulations are evolving, and what strategies are being built behind the scenes. The announcement we're discussing today has sparked serious conversations throughout the XRP community because it points toward something much larger than a short-term market event. It suggests that key players may be preparing for a future where XRP plays a much bigger role in the global financial system. So stay with me until the end, because the details we're about to discuss could completely change the way you view XRP's long-term potential. The crypto market has always been driven by narratives. In every major cycle, there is usually one story that captures the attention of investors around the world. Sometimes it is decentralized finance, sometimes it is Bitcoin adoption, and sometimes it is artificial intelligence integration. But now many analysts are beginning to focus on a different narrative: the growing importance of blockchain-based payment infrastructure. This is where XRP continues to stand out from many other digital assets. The newly announced XRP strategy is generating excitement because it appears to focus on expanding utility rather than simply creating hype. That distinction is important. Utility is what creates long-term value. When a digital asset solves real-world problems, businesses, institutions, and investors begin to take it more seriously. XRP has always been positioned as a solution for faster and more efficient cross-border transactions, but this latest development suggests that the vision may be expanding beyond what many investors originally expected. What makes this announcement even more interesting is the timing. Financial institutions around the world are actively exploring blockchain technology. Governments are discussing digital asset regulations. Major companies are looking for faster ways to move money globally. Against this backdrop, any strategic move involving XRP immediately attracts attention because it aligns with trends that are already transforming the financial landscape. We will go deeper into what this XRP strategy announcement actually represents and why so many investors are paying close attention to it. To understand its importance, we need to look beyond short-term price speculation and focus on the long-term direction that XRP appears to be moving toward. At its core, this strategy seems to highlight a shift toward stronger real-world adoption and integration. Instead of XRP being discussed only as a trading asset, the focus is increasingly on its role as a financial bridge in global transactions. This means the attention is not just on market charts, but on how XRP could potentially be used by institutions, payment providers, and financial networks in real-world systems. One of the key reasons this announcement has created such strong reactions is because it signals confidence in future demand. When a strategy is announced around a digital asset like XRP, it usually suggests that there is preparation for increased usage, liquidity needs, or broader ecosystem participation. In simple terms, strategies are not created without expectations of future growth or activity. Another important angle is how this aligns with the ongoing evolution of global payments. Traditional banking systems are often slow, expensive, and dependent on multiple intermediaries. Blockchain-based solutions aim to reduce those inefficiencies. XRP has been consistently positioned as a tool that can help bridge that gap by enabling faster settlement times and lower transaction costs. Because of this, any structured strategy involving XRP naturally draws attention from both retail and institutional observers. We also need to consider the psychological impact on the market. When investors hear words like strategy announcement, it often increases confidence and curiosity. Even if all details are not immediately clear, the perception of organized planning can influence sentiment. In crypto markets, sentiment plays a major role in how assets behave in the short and medium term. However, it is also important to stay balanced. Not every strategy announcement leads to immediate price movement. Markets often take time to fully understand and react to new developments. That is why experienced investors usually focus on long-term implications rather than instant reactions. We will focus on one of the most important aspects of this XRP strategy announcement, which is its possible connection with institutional adoption and real-world financial systems. This is where things start to become more serious, because institutional involvement is often the key factor that separates short-term hype from long-term growth in the crypto market. Institutions such as banks, payment providers, and financial service companies do not move quickly. They require clear strategies, strong infrastructure, and reliable technology before integrating any digital asset into their systems. If an XRP-related strategy is being discussed or announced at a higher level, it often signals that preparations for larger-scale usage may already be underway. This does not guarantee immediate adoption, but it does suggest forward planning. One of the reasons XRP continues to stand out in this space is its focus on cross-border payments. Global money transfers are still heavily dependent on outdated systems that involve delays and high fees. Institutions are constantly searching for more efficient solutions. If XRP is positioned within a broader strategy, it may indicate that it is being considered as part of a future financial infrastructure rather than just a speculative asset. Another key point is regulatory progress. In the financial world, regulation plays a major role in determining which technologies can be adopted at scale. Over the past few years, the crypto industry has been moving closer to clearer regulations in many regions. When strategy announcements emerge during this phase, it often means organizations are aligning themselves with expected regulatory frameworks to ensure smooth future integration. We also need to understand the role of liquidity and settlement speed. Financial institutions prioritize systems that can move large amounts of money quickly and securely. XRP has often been discussed in this context because of its fast transaction settlement capability. If the new strategy involves expanding this use case, it could be aimed at strengthening XRP's position as a liquidity solution in global finance. At the same time, it is important to remain realistic. Institutional adoption does not happen overnight. It requires testing, compliance checks, partnerships, and long-term planning. That is why strategy announcements should be seen as early indicators rather than immediate signals of mass adoption. We will focus on how market sentiment, investor behavior, and global economic conditions can shape the real impact of this XRP strategy announcement. Even when strong developments are made at the technical or institutional level, the way the market reacts is often driven by perception, timing, and broader financial conditions. Market sentiment in crypto is extremely powerful. Unlike traditional markets, crypto prices can react quickly to news, rumors, and expectations. When investors hear about a new XRP strategy, even without full details, it can create a wave of optimism. This optimism often leads to increased trading activity, higher attention on XRP, and stronger community discussions. However, sentiment can also change quickly if expectations are not met, which is why emotional reactions in the market should always be balanced with careful analysis. Investor behavior is another key factor. In the XRP community, there is a mix of long-term holders and short-term traders. Long-term holders usually focus on adoption, utility, and future potential, while short-term traders look for price movements and volatility. A strategy announcement can influence both groups in different ways. Long-term investors may see it as a confirmation of their belief in XRP's future, while short-term traders may look for quick opportunities based on increased market activity. Global economic conditions also play a major role. When traditional financial systems face uncertainty, inflation concerns, or shifts in monetary policy, investors often explore alternative assets. In such environments, digital assets like XRP can gain additional attention as part of a broader diversification strategy. If this XRP strategy aligns with global financial trends, it may strengthen its relevance in the eyes of institutional and retail investors alike. Another important point is the role of information flow. In the crypto market, information spreads rapidly across social media platforms, news channels, and community forums. This means that even partial updates about a strategy can influence global perception almost instantly. That is why clarity and transparency are extremely important when it comes to major announcements involving digital assets. At the same time, it is essential to avoid overreaction. Not every announcement leads to immediate structural change in the market. Sometimes strategies take months or even years to fully develop. Smart investors usually focus on understanding the long-term direction rather than reacting to short-term excitement. We will bring everything together and look at what this XRP strategy announcement could realistically mean for XRP holders moving forward, along with the key opportunities and risks that should not be ignored. When we combine all the points discussed in the previous parts, a clearer picture starts to form. This strategy is not just about short-term excitement or temporary market hype. Instead, it appears to reflect a broader direction toward long-term positioning of XRP within the evolving global financial system. That is why it has gained so much attention from investors, analysts, and the wider crypto community. For XRP holders, the biggest potential opportunity lies in long-term utility growth. If XRP continues to be integrated into payment systems, liquidity networks, or institutional frameworks, its real-world usage could increase significantly over time. In financial markets, increased utility often leads to stronger demand, especially when an asset is limited in supply and actively used in global transactions. Another opportunity comes from market awareness. As more investors and institutions discuss XRP in strategic terms rather than speculative terms, it can slowly shift perception. This change in narrative is important because crypto markets are heavily influenced by belief and expectations about future value. However, it is equally important to understand the risks. No strategy announcement guarantees immediate success or price growth. The crypto market is highly volatile, and external factors such as regulation, macroeconomic changes, and competition from other blockchain networks can all impact XRP's progress. There is also the possibility that implementation takes longer than expected, which can test investor patience. For this reason, XRP holders should focus on a balanced approach. Instead of reacting emotionally to every announcement, it is better to evaluate long-term trends, real adoption progress, and actual use cases being developed over time. Sustainable growth in crypto usually comes from consistent development rather than sudden hype cycles. To conclude, this XRP strategy announcement is best understood as a signal of direction rather than a guaranteed outcome. It highlights growing interest, potential expansion, and continued relevance of XRP in the global financial conversation, but the real impact will depend on how this strategy is executed in the coming months and years. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure to like this video, subscribe to XRPIQ, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any future XRP updates. This channel is dedicated to bringing you clear, simple, and consistent XRP news analysis. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or investment advice. Cryptocurrency investments are highly volatile and risky. Always do your own research and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.